let me introduce Matchback Magic. Matchback Magic solves the problem of needing to match back between proxy media and the original high quality source, or with double system sound. For example, in this project I have some red footage that has been imported through log and transfer, and I have some audio files that were recorded as well. These are separate, and these WAV files are part of a double system workflow. I synchronized these manually in the timeline, and here simply because we do not have matching timecode on these clips. For example, if I look at this particular clip in timecode, modified timecode, we can see we have double system. We have a video track and we have an audio track, and as it turns out, this doesn't actually have a real or role name for the audio. Now, the problem with double system is that most people will export these to merged clips, self-contained clips, so that when you go from system to system, you can reliably reconnect media. In this case, I also want to work with proxy footage because I'd like to be able to edit on my laptop, and editing native red R3Ds wrapped in QuickTime on my laptop is not a very pleasant task. So we make it possible to go from this high quality media to proxy media and make sure that we can still do a perfect match back to the high quality source media after editorial without any risk of being unable to do that. Whatever happens in editorial, we will be able to do a conform match back. And it starts very simply. We've taken the bin of movies that are synchronized. These are, as I showed, these have separate audio and video, and they're linked together, and they have been merged into proxy files in this folder. So I'm simply going to take that, export XML from that, export XML version 5, and I'm just going to put it to the desktop for the moment, and then I'm going to swap over to Matchback Magic, and I'm going to get the XML file that I just exported off the desktop, and I'm going to open the bin of media that I had created. So in here I have my ProRes proxy clips, and if you just pop over to this desktop to start for a moment, we can see that these have been last modified on March 30th. Now what we're going to do is open that bin into Matchback Magic, and we're going to add matchback protection. So once this has been done, this media will be bulletproof throughout editorial. There is nothing that can be done in editorial that will damage it. So just click on matchback protection, bounces me back to Final Cut Pro briefly, and we can see back in Finder that the modification date is now. So the files have been updated with that matchback protection. Now that we've injected the protection to the files, we can now save out an ALE file for a Cinema Tools database if that's your workflow. You click on that and you'll be asked to name the file and use it as you normally would. This project is now ready to go out to editorial to do with it what they will. So, editorial have been busy. They've actually finished the project, and the first thing that they did was that they renamed the clips to something sensible instead of the rather arcane names from the red camera. This is not usually a problem. Final Cut will track the media file that it expects to be connected to this clip in the background, and in normal circumstances that would not be a problem. And we can check that these still, in fact, if we reveal in Finder, these connect to the media that we worked with today, and it's still renamed correctly, so there's no big drama. Except this particular assistant was talking to another assistant and was told that in Final Cut, it was very important to keep the clip name and the media file name matched. Now obviously we've renamed the clips to something sensible, so the only logical thing to do would be to rename the file to match that clip name. This gets a warning because you are modifying that file, but because of what this person had been told, they were going to do what they'd been told and make the media file match the clip name. This would normally be extremely difficult to match back using any of Final Cut Pro's media management tools. But let's do it anyway. And if we pop back over to Finder, we see that now our media files are now renamed to match our clip names. Just to show how robust this is, I'm going to pick this clip and go to modify timecode and do a little bit of damage. I'm convinced that this is actually real mag 14, not mag 4, and I don't like that timecode at all. That number at the front there is just too big, so I'm just going to make that 1. I don't like big numbers. Small numbers are so much more fun. And let's on this one just, modify the timecode again. And I'm going to just delete the timecode completely. Oh, well, it won't let me do that, but I'm going to delete the real name completely. It will let me do that, and be done with that. So we've renamed clips, not a problem. We've renamed the media file, usually a problem. We have modified real names, and we've modified time codes. We've even deleted a real name, and I don't know if you noticed, but the audio had no real name to start with. So we're tracking that without a real name as well. This would be a very tricky project to match back, but let's take the edited sequence, and I'm going to use a full quality sequence matching the original media, simply because this guarantees through Matchback Magic that the format of that sequence will be the exact format of the original sequence. Final Cut will normally import using the current sequence setting, and that's fine. If your current sequence settings are set to match the original full quality media, that's a great thing, and you don't need this extra step, but it makes life just a little bit easier for me, and it makes it more accurate. It guarantees that it will match. So I'm exporting the finished project and a blank, an empty sequence. Let me just call that finished project. Put it on the desktop where I can find it. And let's go back to Matchback Magic and go into the conform mode. Let me read the Matchback information from that finished project file. And where you look at that, there is all of the links to the original media files, the original source time code, in and out, real source, sound real, sound time code, everything we need to do a perfect matchback, and we can save that out as an Excel spreadsheet. We can save out an ALE file that you can then use to update your Cinema Tools database that you created in the Protect phase, or we can go to a fully conformed Final Cut sequence. So let's do that. And it's my editorial edit. Let's create a new project for the finished program, and it wants to save that first. And we only have one sequence in here, and this is the full quality sequence. And if I zoom out, it's a perfect match for what we got. You'll notice that a couple of things that we have done is that we have left the offline quality edit up here and down here, and that is there so you can, if you can turn these tracks back on and do a visual conform just to prove that the time codes do match at every point. And let me just bring up this point where we deleted the time codes. We can see that this links back to the QuickTime wrapped R3D file, and this links back to the original broadcast WAV file, and no real name but perfect match. Even though we deleted the real from that clip, it's still done a perfect match back. And here, where we modified the real name and time code, it has also done a perfect match back. And that's the magic of Matchback Magic. It will guarantee that no matter what you do, your edit will always work, and it's faster than going through Final Cut's media management to get back to a high quality master.